This is one of the reasons why I said if this Judge Chutkan in D.C., this federal judge, because we assume Trump's going to get convicted in that case. I mean, the smart bet would be this D.C. jury convicts him because they hate him politically. 92% voted for Joe Biden, and she hates him. That if she puts him in jail pending appeal before the election, the country's going to burn. And then all this blowback, all these people say, oh my God, she's calling for violence. I'm not calling for violence, but there is no way the Trump base is not going to be beside itself with anger at that level of deprivation of being able to simply vote for the candidate of choice. That's what's being taken away here, like to your point.
Well, yeah. And, speaking of violence, that's what you're going to get. And speaking as someone who detests violence, and I've seen war, that's why I detest violence. So I spent a lot of my career trying to argue against more wars because I think violence is the worst thing. But I'm just being honest here. If you leave people no alternative, then what do you think is going to happen? I mean, the whole point of electoral democracy is that it's a pressure relief valve that takes people who are very frustrated with the way things are going and gives them a way to express themselves, have their desires heard, and ultimately their will done to be represented in a peaceful way. And if you take that away, if you haven't staged an unfair election, which 2020 was, if you suppress information that voters need to make an informed decision, you're rigging the election, and they did that. So if you keep doing that, and people are like, wait, I have no economic power. You've devalued my currency, so it's like $11 for a dozen eggs, and my vote doesn't matter anymore. Well, then what do I have? Like, what power do I have? And you're going to get violence if you keep this shit up. And that's just the truth. And I am very upset about that. I don't want that to happen. I think the counter violence will be much more extreme than the violence. But any rational person can see what's coming. So they have to stop this. The charges against Trump are not real. They're not even for serious crimes. I was told Trump was like a murderer and had killed a bunch of people in New Jersey or something. He didn't even cheat on his taxes. And they're treating him like a felon at the same time. Like they protect Epstein until they have to murder him in his cell. It's like, it's insane. And it's all on public display. Everybody knows what's going on. So I do think the people in charge, the people who are pulling the strings on Tanya Chutkan or whatever these ridiculous front people they hire, those people need to really think this through a little bit. You're about to wreck the country. Don't do this, please.
Yeah. And yet, day after day, we continue to get more ridiculous think pieces like the one I mentioned at Axios, which is very worried about the white men in Trump's imaginary second cabinet, that are sounding the alarm as follows. One of the terrible things we're going to see under a second Trump term. They want to target and jail their critics. Hello?
Hundreds of people have gone to jail for criticizing Biden in the last election. Be honest.
Not to mention what they're doing to Donald Trump in 4 different courtrooms, criminal courtrooms, forget the civil, right now. The rest of the list is kind of funny, Tucker. This is what Axios wants us to worry about. They're also threatening in a second Trump administration to deport undocumented immigrants. Hello? To unleash the military, to target drug cartels in Mexico, or possibly crack down on criminals or protesters at home. I laughed. I'm like, are they trying to drive GOP turnout here? Because this is not going to have the effect they intend.
You do. I mean, I do think that in 5 years, we won't have outlets like Axios or NBC News. I mean, I do think the whole edifice is crumbling. But in the meantime, you would like to get, say, 300 Haitian immigrants and move them by force into the home of that reporter or anybody who doubts the severity of what it means to live in a country with no borders. Like they're immune from the effects of these insane country destroying policies. And so they don't care. But it would be nice to sort of make it a little more personal for them. It's like, oh, you care so much about refugees? Here's 3 dozen. You're now responsible for them. No, they're not getting welfare. You're paying for them. How's that? You educate their kids. You share a bathroom. Like, I'm totally over this. This is the destruction of our country. We're watching it in real time. I was born here. I have no other passport. I'm not going anywhere else. So I'm going to have to live with this, and so are my children, and God willing, my grandchildren. And it's being embedded by the news media. They're not calling the shots, but they're defending them and encouraging them. And I really do hope that they feel the sting of the things they're defending at some point, that it's not just working class whites in Southern Ohio or Vermont who are having to live with this crap. You know what I mean? It really should come to Logan Circle very soon.
Debt. You can go to bed thinking about it. You can wake up thinking about it. It can haunt you throughout the day. High interest credit cards and loans make it nearly impossible to pay off your debt. And insane inflation keeps you stuck paycheck to paycheck. The system traps you in debt. Donewithdebt.com can be a lifeline. The lifeline of a lifetime. I've talked about my own experience with debt in the past, so believe me, I know what it feels like. It's been a while, but I remember very well. Donewithdebt.com has a new strategy to help erase your debt faster and easier than you ever thought possible. And here's what they can do for you. Analyze all the debt options you qualify for, minimize interest rates, cut medical bills, and reduce debt without bankruptcy and without a loan. But you need to hurry. Some debt solutions are time sensitive. Go to donewithdebt.com, find out how easy they make it, and find out if it's right for you. Donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.